now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest on everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto, we are going to be talking about why a major drop on Bitcoin may have just begun. We've spoken at length about how the $24,100 level to the $25,200 level on Bitcoin is extremely important. And if Bitcoin does start to break below a critical uptrend and two critical moving averages on the daily and the weekly chart respectively, that is going to spell quite a lot of bearishness for Bitcoin. Yesterday, the effective federal funds rate was paused. There was no rate hike at 2 o'clock when the statement was released, and at 2:30, Jerome Powell teased that we may very well actually have one more hike. So that's kind of the news for you. We did not see a hike. We're still sitting at 5.15% on the effective federal funds rate, but Jay Powell came out and more or less said that there's possibly going to be another rate hike and doubled down on this concept of a target 2% inflation rate, CPI rate, that we've seen in the zeitgeist of the Federal Reserve for over a decade now. The Federal Reserve would like to bring us back down to 2% inflation. They'd like to see us get there, and they're also concerned that we've basically not been at target 2% for the last 10 years. So the Federal Reserve right now is having quite a few conversations amongst itself about how to actually get the market back down to target 2%. And I think there's a couple of facets of why they have not been able to do that we can talk about a little bit later. But to start with, I just want you guys to understand that we did not have a rate hike. We did have a pause, but we also had a tease that there would be another rate hike. So unfortunately, the Federal Reserve has kind of broken character. The Federal Reserve very, very, very rarely employs a policy of having hike, pause, hike. They very rarely do that. Normally, if they're going to continue hiking, they will just go ahead and do all the hiking all at once. That's what happened in 2018 when we started hiking interest rates up to 2019 when we dropped them during the pandemic. That's what happened in the aftermath of 2008, and that's also what happened back in 2001. The last three hiking cycles going back over the first part of this century, not one time has the Federal Reserve ever done this, but now they're teasing that they might based on forthcoming data. Last month, their forthcoming data prediction was a bullish prediction. They said, well, we might not hike next time based on the data that comes in. They had some data that they like to see. Inflation came down quite a bit, but they said that there's likely, that there's a possibility. Jay Powell basically said there's a definite possibility, basically gave us a definite maybe, that there will be a hike at the next meeting here in about 40 or 45 days. And if that occurs, obviously that would be relatively FUD for the cryptocurrency market and for the greater stock market. So the Dixies dropped on this news. The stock market has not been too happy with it, and Bitcoin is in the exact same boat. Like I said, this is uncharacteristic of Jerome Powell. This is typically not how the Federal Reserve goes about things. Even yesterday, the stock market dropped. Had a little bit of a drop. It bounced briefly after this news came out, but there was some concern over this policy, this direction that they're taking of having one pause and then having a hike. So we're going to break all that down today. We're going to talk about what that decision means for Bitcoin. We're also going to talk about what that means, what the Bitcoin price is looking like, and why the Bitcoin price is just honestly in danger of a major drop from here. We've set a fresh low. We're going to break down all of that today. But let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all 185 of you guys tuning in. This is your one-stop shop for everything cryptocurrency and financial sovereignty. I love to interact with you guys here on the channel. And then we also, here on Coffee and Crypto, Then we also engage with you guys over on Climate of Crypto in our afternoon videos. We make about 2 of those a week, put a lot of work into those. And over in those videos, I'm going to teach you guys about what's going on in the cryptocurrency market, how to manage your finances, and help you guys become financially sovereign. Paul Torelli was first today, said, good morning. Good morning to you as well, Paul Torelli. Wisely T said, can't wait to hear why your least likely prediction came true, sad face. Yes, if you watched yesterday's stream, we gave a 20 to 25% likelihood Bitcoin would drop, 20 to 25% likelihood Bitcoin would trade sideways, and a 50 to 60% likelihood Bitcoin would go up. I did warn you guys that there was a greater possibility than not that Bitcoin would have trouble with that, with holding that level that we've talked about. And the reason that we went into that, that's the reason for the sideways prediction, and that was the reason for the drop prediction. And the reason for that was because Bitcoin right now is under so much fire from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Just to kind of answer your question wisely, T, because that will tee up the rest of the stream. That's a great question. The Securities and Exchange Commission's attack on Coinbase, on Binance, and on Changpeng Zhao has been extremely strong. That attack has brought so much FUD, so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt into the cryptocurrency market that many people are wondering, are we actually going to be able to sustain a bull market in this kind of environment where we've got the Securities and Exchange Commission coming after us? So many people were looking forward, including myself, were looking forward to a good CPI release and a positive news coming from the Fed. The tricky thing is, when we saw the effective federal fund, when we saw the CPI data come out 2 days ago on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., Bitcoin actually dropped, and you can see that on the chart. Bitcoin actually dropped. You can see that CPI data came out right here, and Bitcoin went on a correction. Part of the reason that I gave for that, and the explanation that I gave for that, is that more than likely people were hoping, all right, we've got all of this overarching FUD of the effective federal funds, of the Securities and Exchange Commission coming after the cryptocurrency market. And so we're hoping that a positive, bullish news, if you will, from the CPI data release will send the market to the upside. When that didn't happen, and people also lost the hope of saying, oh, there's something off in the future that could give us hope, that is where Bitcoin dropped. The CPI being a 0.9% drop was not a big enough bullish news story, but the removal of the hopium that was in the cryptocurrency space was a big enough bearish factor that it actually led Bitcoin to drop following that CPI data release. Similarly, today, and this is what I told you guys yesterday would be a big concern. Yesterday, I said that there was up to a 50% likelihood that we would go sideways or move to the downside. If you combine the sideways and the downside action, those two, that's up to 50% prediction I gave you. And the reason that I gave it such a high margin for moving sideways or dropping was because most people were looking for the effective federal funds rate to be the silver bullet that it took to cure the bearishness that Bitcoin has been under. That did not happen for 2 reasons. Number one, the effective federal funds rate being paused does not alleviate the concern of the SEC coming after the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. That's like trying to use a screwdriver to, build a skyscraper. You're just not using the right tool for the job. The effective federal funds rate being paused was never going to be the solution that we needed for the SEC coming after cryptocurrency, because you're just missing each other. Those two things don't actually have anything to do with each other. So the bullishness from one might curtail some of the bearishness from the other, but it's not actually solving the root problem. It's a painkiller, not a cure. Then, on top of that, and that's why I think that the market really went through a drop. I think the market really started to go through a drop. 1, because of that, but also 2, because Jerome Powell teased that there might be another rate hike. So not only is there going to be another rate hike off in the future, that'd be bearish enough, but it's actually even worse than that. It's even more bearish because Jerome Powell said there might be. Remember, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What is that? Doubt is, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in the future? Am I going to be safe? Is the EFFR going to be, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? I don't know. What's going to happen? That's what doubt is. Fear is, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, it might go up. Guys. Come here. We gotta get out of this market. We gotta get out of here. This is bad. It's going to go up. That's fear. And then uncertainty is, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm anxious, right? That's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So that's like the definition. It's like the definition of a FUD story is, oh, we might hike the rates. We might not, right? It's the exact opposite of what Jerome Powell said last month, where he said, we might pause the rates, we might not. That led to FOMO, right? Because people are fearing of missing out. They're saying, oh my gosh, if he does hike the rates, if he does pause the rates, the market's going to go up, and I'm going to be so excited. So there was a FOMO story that he gave us, and now there's a FUD story. So not only did we see that kind of, that hopium of, oh my gosh, the Fed rate pause is going to be the silver bullet that comes over the horizon like a knight in shining armor, and he's wearing white, and he's, all just wonderful. He's going to say that that didn't happen because that was a fairy tale. The effective federal funds rate being paused was never going to be a big enough story to send Bitcoin into this giant bull market, considering the SEC's attack on crypto. But on top of that, there's also the FUD of there might be another hike in the future, and that's basically what he came out and said. That's not just us thinking, oh, well, they might hike it, they might not. Jerome Powell basically stated that there may be another one. So Wisely T, thank you for that question. Like I said, that was a great tee up for our conversation today, and that'll help us as we move forward. Let's read the rest of chat. Mario De Leon is in chat, said, good morning, crypto fam. Good morning to you as well. Jason Owen said, good morning, everyone. You too, Jeb. Good morning to you. RC Moore said, we did not pump. That's right, we did not. Morning, my guy, Jeb. What a drop, huh? Yep. Jolly's World said, hi, Jeb from Tampa. Tampa is beautiful. Beautiful. We tried to go to the aquarium on our honeymoon, not our honeymoon, I'm sorry, our 1 year anniversary, and actually ran into a fan of the channel. So shout out to you. You know who you are. And we were trying to go to the aquarium in Tampa, and the power went out. Like the second we got there, the power went out. And you just see about 1,000 people just streaming out of the aquarium, all saying, well, that sucks. They said they're going to give us a refund. I was looking at the dolphins, you know. So we went over to Clearwater and learned about winter. So there you go. For anybody who knows that movie. Adam Rorick in chat. Crypto Mini Bike in chat. Colin McDonald in chat. Grand Roofing Incorporated in chat. Good to see you, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. At the moment, Bitcoin is down 5% over the last 7 days, and Ethereum is down 10% over the last 7 days. Bitcoin is down 5.62% over the last 90 days, and Ethereum is down 5.33% over the last 90 days. So take note, we've actually flipped, and we're actually down on the 90-day graphs. On the 24-hour graphs, Bitcoin is down 3.74%, and Ethereum is down 5% just in the last 24 hours. So like I said, the effective federal funds rate hike pause actually ended up being a bearish thing because of some of the rhetoric that was put forth in that meeting, such as the desire to get back to target 2% inflation. And I think people realize just how difficult that's going to be, but also the fact of the matter that we may see another hike to accomplish that goal, is what Jerome Powell came out and talked about. Binance down 11.52% in the last 7 days, down 30% in the last 90 days. BNB is down 5% in the last 24 hours as well. XRP down 7.63% in the last 7 days. Cardano down 20% in the last 7 days. Down 23% in the last 90 days. Down 5.4% in the last 24 hours. Tron down 8.76%. Solana down 7.65%. Polygon down 22.59%. Guys, like I said, these are going to be difficult times for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so I want to prepare you for this. I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to want to hear. I want to put this out there, and I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to want to hear. This drop could go a lot lower. This could get a lot darker than what it has so far. And so I tell you that because if you're not prepared for that, and if that's not a place that you want to be, that is totally fine. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's back up for a second, and let me remind you that the point of this channel is not to preach Bitcoin. It is to preach financial sovereignty, and Bitcoin is a tool that we use to get there. And so I'm going to tell you something about investment in cryptocurrency right now that might be unpopular, but I hope that you'll be glad you did, because every time I run a poll and I ask you guys if your primary purpose for being in cryptocurrency is to increase your financial state, to better your financial state, 95, 96, 97% of you say that is the number one reason you're here. So with that foundation in mind, let me remind you that I love you, and I'm going to tell you something you don't want to hear, potentially. Maybe you do want to hear it, because I care about you and because it would be against my conscience not to share this with you. Bitcoin could go a lot lower from here. And I don't mean to FUD. I'm not trying to scare you. I do just want to be realistic. Bitcoin dropped below a pretty important level of support this morning at $25,236. We're going to break that down. The drop on the altcoin space is massive right now. Just remember what we were talking about here. In 7 days, we've got Cardano down 20%, Tron down 8.74%, Solana down 21%. Across the board, we're down 20% or more on some of the altcoins. Ethereum down 11%. The cryptocurrency market is under the most powerful attack that it has ever been under in its entire history. So let's remember something. Let's remember that we're in cryptocurrency to increase our financial sovereignty. That doesn't just mean getting richer, by the way. That also includes having sovereign control over our own currency. And so maybe being invested in Bitcoin is something that you care about, even if you don't care about the price, but just because you care about the principle of having control over your own finances. So that's wonderful. But as far as the price is concerned, many of you are here to make gains. That is likely going to be very difficult in this environment with the Securities and Exchange Commission coming after Coinbase, coming after Binance, and coming after Changpeng Zhao. We're going to need to see how that shakes out. And with all of these altcoins being labeled as securities by the Securities and Exchange Commission, by the way, the federal government basically looks to the SEC to say, is it a security? Are they not? If the SEC says it, then basically the government's going to look at it that way. And they're not going to give them that much pushback and challenge. With labeling so much of the cryptocurrency market as securities, the US market for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency just got a whole lot stickier. And so this drop may not be over. It might not even be close to over. And so, if you have a sizable percentage of your cryptocurrency portfolio, a sizable percentage of your portfolio in cryptocurrency, that is, let's say you're an investor and the vast majority of your investment, let's say you have $100,000 invested, you've got $10,000 in equities, you've got $5,000 in a REIT, you've got $4,000 in a 5.5% savings account, and you're considering that an investment just because it's making 5.5%, you've got $10,000 in treasury, and you got $70,000 in crypto. You may want to rebalance that. I'm not saying to pull out entirely of crypto. I'm not even telling you that you have to pull out of crypto. But what I am telling you is something unpopular that would probably get me in trouble, but is going to be important for you to consider as an investor in crypto. This might drop a lot farther, and this may take a while. This could take a couple of years to shake out. I believe a bull market should be coming next year. The attack that we're receiving from the SEC does make that a little bit more. We need to question what that's going to look like. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but we need to reanalyze the potential of that bull market in light of what's going on with the SEC. This is extreme warfare that's going on in crypto. And obviously, if you are a Ukrainian, then you know that it's very difficult to grow the GDP of your nation if you're at war. It's very difficult to grow your financial state if you are at war. The 13 colonies were not prospering economically in the middle of the Revolutionary War. Iraq was not prospering economically in the middle of the Iraq War. Doesn't matter how much oil they have. Kuwait was not prospering economically in the middle of that war, no matter how much oil they had, because they had tanks in their city, right? And so that's kind of what crypto is going through right now. We're fighting a war, and wars, unfortunately, you do have to kind of defend yourself, and we're the defenders right now in crypto. But this may take time to shake out. So what I'm telling you, just to kind of put it all in a nutshell, is that you need to reconsider, not reconsider as in change your mind, but go back to the drawing board and make sure you've thoroughly considered how much of your investment portfolio you have in crypto versus how much you have in other stocks, in other investments such as mutual funds, treasuries, high yield savings accounts, etc. Make sure you have an investment in crypto, because I think you're going to miss out in the long term if you don't have something in crypto, but make sure you have that investment in other areas as well. We're going to continue talking more about that in future content, and I'm also going to help you guys with how you can go about setting up those investment schemes, and how you can, not schemes, but how you can go about setting up those investment strategies, and how you can go about moving out of financial bondage into financial sovereignty. But I do just want to kind of give you that time out, give you a warning. This could get bad before it gets good. It's that simple. I just want you guys to consider that and realize that the day the SEC filed those two lawsuits, things did fundamentally change in a way that we as investors absolutely have to consider. And we can't get dogmatic and say, oh, I believe in crypto. I believe in crypto fully. You realize I've dedicated my career thus far to crypto, and I will continue. But we don't want the dogma and the loyalty to end up leading us in a direction that we don't make wise financial decisions, because in that case, we're making trades based on our emotion and not based on the facts. The fact of the matter is, this market may be suppressed for 6 to 12 months as the SEC battles ensue. So, with that said, I'm sure I'm getting a lot of hate and comments over there, but with that in mind, let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin and talk about this drop, because this is the drop that I've been concerned would happen for the last 2 weeks or so, and it has come to pass. If you remember, I've spoken at length, ad nauseum. I love that word. I finally got a chance to use it. I've spoken ad nauseum about a drop below $25,236. Let's just back up and explain what that looks like for anyone who happens to be new here. $25,236 is a remarkably important level of support on Bitcoin that is denoted by 3 separate levels. Right here on the 11th of May, 2022, we tested it as support. Here on the 14th of August, 2022, we tested it as resistance. And then once again, on February 20th of 2023, we tested it as resistance. This has been the baseline of what we have called the transitionary zone on Bitcoin between 25,236 and excuse me, 545. We've been discussing this transitionary zone right in this area since January. We've been talking about this for 5 months. This transitionary zone is the zone that Bitcoin needs to confidently break above for me to believe it's in a bull market. And now for me to believe Bitcoin's in a bull market, we need to see that the market's able to thrive even under the light of the Securities and Exchange case. There are a few bullish factors to consider. First and foremost, depending on how you draw it, you do kind of have to, squint and cock your head a little bit. You could argue that Bitcoin's in a falling wedge. Falling wedges have a 70% likelihood of breaking to the upside. We've been in it for quite some time. So there is an argument to be made that, hey, this drop should be over soon. We're also down 20%. There's another argument to say this drop should be over soon. On top of that, there is also the 200 daily exponential moving average, which we're kind of sitting above right now. So you might say, okay, we're going to bounce off of that. That's great. You can kind of make a bullish case right now on the daily chart and the weekly chart for Bitcoin. The concern is that with this FOMC decision, with the Fed pausing but signaling that there may be more rate hikes, the Fed has more or less been the last piece of hopium that was in the market. Think about it. What data are you looking forward to coming out now? Are you looking forward to the next effective federal funds rate decision? No. Jerome Powell said that it might be a hike. Are you looking for the next CPI data release to be bullish? Maybe. We dropped 0.9% last month. What's the likelihood that we're going to be able to drop below 4% when the vast majority of that 0.9% drop was because of gasoline, and that data is rolling off starting 60 days from now, 45 days from now. It's 2 months from now. You don't really have the ability right now to look out into the future and say, all right, I'm just waiting for that CPI data release because it's going to moonshot Bitcoin. All right, I'm waiting because there's going to be a Fed rate pause. Great. If you're thinking about the Fed, you're looking off into the future and saying, oh, I thought we were done with hikes. Jerome Powell is saying that we're probably going to end up having to have another one because they really want to get serious about target 2%. By the way, why is the Fed concerned about target 2%? 2% is where they think that it's healthy growth. Bah humbug. We can talk about that another time. The problem that the Fed's running into is that they have a hammer and they're trying to put a screw into a steel beam. For anybody who's in construction, those shelves are drilled into steel studs in this office building. I would not have been able to put those in there with a hammer. You need a power drill to do that. They've got a hammer. What's the hammer? Interest rates, quantitative easing. They've got a screwdriver. They've got a hammer. They need a crane because they're trying to build a skyscraper. The Federal Reserve does not have the tools to get inflation down to 2% and keep it there because the monetary policy of the United States dollar is not the only thing that drives inflation. Side topic. Keep it in mind, though. So my point, when you're looking off into the future, are you seeing, okay, great, CPI is going to come out. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have CPI drop by 0.3%, and then Bitcoin's going to rally on it. And oh my goodness, we've got a buy signal coming on Lux Algo's daily chart. Where? Oh man, look, the FOMC is going to come out and they're going to pause rates. It's going to be great. The best thing that I can give you to look into the future that has a major impact on Bitcoin's market right now is the halving. That's almost a year away. So that's not really going to help in the next week. And the Federal Reserve dropping rates. They're right now talking about continuing to hike them. That's about all I got for you. Looking off into the future when we're looking at fundamentals. An end to the war in Ukraine, maybe that would help. That doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. There's not a lot of look off into the future and say, oh my gosh, Ethereum 2.0 is coming out. It's going to be great. We're going to have smart. It's going to be awesome. There's not a lot of that right now. And we've kind of seen the market's addiction to that. We've seen the market be like, yes, CPI is coming out. Yes, effective federal funds rate hikes are going to get smaller. Yes, boom, we're going to go up because of that. Not because of things happening in the industry. When we look in the industry, FTX is collapsing. BlockFi is bankrupt. We're looking at the SEC coming after BUSD. Now we're looking at them coming after Coinbase, Changping's down, Binance. So the market needs to be able to generate within itself, internally generate things that bring us hope. And right now, the only thing that I can point off in the future and say this is a big story that would do that would be the halving event. So that's why I'm deeply concerned that a major drop below $25,236 is coming. The other reason is because Bitcoin has already technically started it. The drop below $25,236 started yesterday. The reason I can prove that is because we're below it right now. You see, we dropped all the way down to 24,850. If we look on this other chart over here, I actually have an uptrending level of support that Bitcoin really, really, really needed to hold. I mean, guys, Bitcoin needed to hold this uptrend. Bitcoin fell below this uptrend yesterday, as you can see. And on top of that, if you look down the 4-hourly chart, you can see that this middle line of our general downtrend, this is the general trend line of the downtrend, was acting as and I didn't even draw it like this, but this is just the way that the trend lines ended up operating. The trend line here, this downtrend was acting as a resistance, this uptrend was acting as our support, and over the last few days, that was acting as a bear flag, which Bitcoin broke out of, and you can see the price target that we had was virtually perfect. So if we had not seen Jay Powell come out and say, oh, well, we might have another effective federal funds rate hike, then I think what probably would have happened here is Bitcoin probably would have traded sideways, because the predictions we made yesterday, 20 to 25 a drop, 20 to 25 a sideways, 50 to 60% a hike, a rally on Bitcoin, that included the idea that Jay Powell was going to pause interest rates and leave it at that and shut his mouth. That's not what he did, and we couldn't have predicted that he was going to do that, especially considering that's not the track record of the Fed. The Fed has never, that I can find in the last 40 years of history, ever done what he said they're thinking about doing. Ever. So, you know, when you have data come in, you have to take that into account. And when he said that, the moment he said that, we look at the market and we're like, okay, well, that changes things. Market's probably going to drop on that. And by the way, it's not just the cryptocurrency market that did it. If you look at the Dixie fell through the freaking floor when he said that. Look at the Dixie over here. We rallied all the way up to 104. Dixie dropped immensely, which should be good for Bitcoin, but this shows you how Bitcoin's decoupling from its regular correlations with the stock market and with Dixie. Dixie dropped almost 1% on that news. Likely because people were thinking, we're going to end up seeing more hikes. Hooray! Not really. Not hooray. Nobody likes that. The Dixie liked it originally because they thought, okay, good deal. Good deal. We're going to pause rates. It's going to be wonderful. And, you know, the Bitcoin, the dollar is already so strong against other currencies. And I think the Dixie started to realize that the people, you know, the Forex currency traders started to realize that moved the Dixie price. They started to realize, wait a second, if they hike rates again, then that's going to, you know, they clicked. Not only that, total market capitalization for the first time in a very long time dropped below $1 trillion yesterday over here on over here on TradingView. I can show you the daily chart. It's been quite some time since we've been below $1 trillion. We fought hard to get above this level. We've fallen below it catastrophically. If we look at total one, which is everything minus, or total two, excuse me, because we're basically looking at total two. If you look at total two, crypto total market capitalization excluding Bitcoin, we have dropped since April 15th, 25%. If we look at just total market capitalization is down 22%. That goes to show you that the altcoins are dropping faster than Bitcoin. It makes sense because the altcoins were the ones that were labeled securities. So not only is Bitcoin breaking below 25,236, a very important level of support, it's also breaking below this uptrending level of support right here. And you can draw it that we haven't broken it yet, but let's just be real here. Bitcoin is breaking this level of support currently. Whether it stays below it or not is yet to be seen. Like I said, you can theoretically draw this level that we haven't technically broken it yet, but breaking below 25,236 is the first step in that series. And like I said, Bitcoin is also showing that there's something fundamentally going on here that we need to pay attention to, because normally Bitcoin will be positively correlated with the stock market, inversely correlated with the Dixie. If you look at the history here, the SPY is almost always perfectly correlated with Bitcoin. Even in recent memory, it has been. The last month or so, we've been moving away from what the Dixie has said. And the only other time that we've seen that happen in the last several years, to be clear, the last time that we've seen Bitcoin spend over a month or two moving in the opposite direction of the Dixie was right here. You can see the SPY went up, Bitcoin went down, and right back over here. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly what was going on that caused this. I think Bitcoin was just going through its correction because it hadn't kicked off a bull market yet. But, and that was only for a couple of weeks. But the last time that we saw the SPY not be correlated, Bitcoin not be correlated with the SPY right here was when FTX collapsed. It was a major fundamental change in the cryptocurrency space. Now we're seeing the same thing. Going back to, April 15th or so, we've been seeing a major change in the Bitcoin market. Bitcoin's been going down, SPY's been going up. And even in the last couple of weeks, SPY's been going up aggressively. Bitcoin has not been. Why? Well, it just points out that there's got to be something fundamental going on in crypto. And when you analyze it, it seems pretty obvious. The SEC started cracking down on BUSD, which kind of showed us, oh, wait a minute, came after Bittrex. Was it Bittrex, I think it was, or maybe it was Kraken? Came after Bittrex. Haha, we're going to get you. the Bitcoin market, I think we started to realize, wait a minute, the SEC is getting serious after the FTX collapse. Sam Bankman-Fried kind of pooped in the punch bowl for the rest of us, and now we've all got to deal with that. And so Bitcoin is crashing hard while dropping hard. Not so much crashing. A crash may be coming, but dropping pretty hard while the stock market's been going up, when normally we'd be going up following the stock market, likely as a result of the fact that people within the cryptocurrency space are concerned about the SEC coming after crypto, but also people outside of the cryptocurrency space are concerned about getting into crypto because of what the SEC is doing. All in all, the concern is very real. The concern of the regulators coming after crypto is a very real one. And so that explains why we're seeing Bitcoin decouple from the stock market, and by the way, also decouple from the Dixie. The Dixie oftentimes is just as powerful of a correlation with Bitcoin, but an inverse correlation. You can see here, whenever Dixie's going up, Bitcoin's normally going down. Whenever Dixie's going down, Bitcoin's normally going up. Why? Because people see Bitcoin as a hedge against the US dollar. It's the opposite. Right now, we've seen that kind of flip recently. The Dixie was going up, so Bitcoin was going down. That's great. But right around here, the Dixie stopped going up and started going down. And Bitcoin continued going down with it. That's not normal. Bitcoin is normally inversely correlated to the Dixie. If the Dixie's going down, why is Bitcoin also going down? Bitcoin should be going up. Well, you got to realize, here on Monday, June the 5th, that's when the SEC attacked. And quite frankly, a lot of the insiders in the cryptocurrency space that hold crypto for the few days preceding that probably knew that and were selling, doing some insider trading. I'm not accusing anyone in particular of that, but it's just a fact of life. When you have a news event that large coming out, it normally leaks to at least some people that are movers and shakers. So that's where I come to you with the title, A Massive Drop for Bitcoin May Have Just Begun. And honestly, that drop could lead us all the way down to $20,000. Look, if Bitcoin manages to hold this zone between 25,236, then wonderful. That's great. I would love to see that. I don't, at this point, want to see Bitcoin drop that far because of the reason that we'd be dropping that far. But if we're not able to hold above 24.1 to 25.2, which is in heavy question right now, then a drop down to $20,000 to $21,000, I'd say is very likely. And that may not be just a V-bottom where we just go down there and then bounce and rally immediately. That may be a drop where we stay down there for quite some time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comment section and in the chat. I am absolutely a firm believer in cryptocurrency and a firm believer in Bitcoin especially. But when the regulators are coming after us, we've got to realize that you're probably not going to be able to grow the most wheat in a field that's on fire because you've got tanks running through the thing. Right? That's kind of where cryptocurrency is right now. There's a war going on, and it's difficult to grow your economy in a war zone. Make sense? Makes sense. Think about Second World War Europe in 1946, or even 1942, 1944. How easy was it for Vichy France, for any of my World War II not fans, nobody's a fan of World War II, but historians out there, how easy would it have been for Vichy France to grow its economy while being occupied by the Germans, and there's the Allies invading? There's a war going on, right? How do you build infrastructure when there's bombs going off? You kind of can't do that, and that's a little bit of where we are right now in crypto. That does not mean that Bitcoin is dead. That does not mean that crypto is dead. It does mean that this is a conflict that is going to take all hands on deck. And as a member of the cryptocurrency industry, I'm not going anywhere on crypto, but I do want to make sure that I personally and my family personally is diversified. And so that's why we want to be invested in crypto, but we also want to make sure that we're pursuing financial sovereignty in every possible way we can. That comes down to personal finance. That comes down to budgeting. That comes down to investing in the stock market. That comes down to maybe real estate if that's what you want to get into. That comes down to using maybe treasuries, high yield savings account, whatever it is. There are a lot more ways to invest than just crypto. Don't forget about crypto, but there are plenty of ways to invest other than just crypto, and you should. Should you invest in crypto? Yes. Should you invest in things other than crypto? Also, yes. Those two things are absolutely a yes. All right, let's go ahead and read chat here. Again, just because there's a war going on home territory, that doesn't mean that we're going to be absolutely faced with oblivion. What it does mean is that we're going to have to fight, and that's okay. We got to fight for what we believe in. And I believe in decentralized identification. I believe in digital ownership. I believe in fractionalized digital ownership, NFTs. I believe in the right to own every single facet of our currency, even the management of it in Bitcoin. I believe in those rights, and I'm perfectly willing to stand for them. But just keep in mind from an investment front, that might not be very good for your investment portfolio. So when we talk about I don't want to say ideology, but when we talk about the worldview, the philosophy of crypto, that has just been vindicated for its importance because we've seen how hard the governments have come after it. The governments oftentimes come after things that they are threatened by, and I think they are heavily threatened by crypto. No hate, just the reality of our financial world. Well said. Thank you guys very much. Let's see. All right, let's read some chat here. Guys. I like to read the chat as much as I can here towards the end of the stream. We got another 9 minutes to go. Love to read your questions. Go ahead and tell me whatever you guys would think, whatever you guys think to ask. Crypto Serg in chat said, "Good morning, God bless, brother." Good morning, and God bless to you as well. They're pretty convinced this is digital gold. Yeah, they're threatened by Bitcoin. They can't really do anything about Bitcoin, but they can absolutely try and do something against the other cryptocurrencies that aren't fully decentralized. You know, that's kind of the thing, is that, like, if you're a Christian, if you've got a church, let's put it like this. If you've got a church and that church is straying and is moving into a prideful direction, is moving into a direction of irreverence or idolatry or whatever it is, that opens the door for an attack, right? When you have cryptocurrency move in the direction of not being decentralized, which is the protection that we have against the governments, then you open yourself to be attacked, right? That's the reason the cryptocurrencies were formed on decentralization, because that's the protection against the attack. If you're a Christian, you walk in pride, you are saying, nope, I'm going to walk away from humility, which is my protection against attack. I'm going to do it my own way, and then you're going to get attacked. Wow. Who saw that coming, right? You're going to walk into idolatry. Wow, you're going to get attacked by your flesh. Wow, who saw that coming, right? You're going to walk away from decentralization. Wow, you're going to get attacked. Who saw that coming, right? Say it with me. Who saw that coming? Anyone who understands why decentralization is at the core of what Bitcoin was designed to be. Bitcoin is designed, I'm just gonna do this real quick. Bitcoin was designed to be permissionless. You know what that means? Being permissionless means that you don't have to ask anybody permission. Just make something clear. I am not against authority. I think authority was put in place for an important reason, but it has to be responsible authority. And if the government is going to come in and tell you and try and be tyrannical over your finances, then you need to say, okay, I'm going to set up a system where I'm just not going to ask your permission. Owning Bitcoin is not a crime that is going to hurt you or anyone else. You might lose some money in it. That's your prerogative. It is your prerogative to invest in whatever you want. Do your due diligence. I have nothing wrong with a regulator demanding of a company or of a cryptocurrency that they release relevant information like, hey, you've got $100 million market capitalization. How much money are you guys spending on yacht parties? I have nothing wrong with that information needing to be public if there's a public stock. If it's a private company, keep your hands out of it. If it's a public company that's publicly traded and there's a bunch of ownership because stock is ownership, I get that. That's only fair to those investors. If you get to the place where you don't have control over your own currency, a permissionless, decentralized solution is needed, and that's where Bitcoin comes in. Every single one of the cryptocurrencies that were listed by the SEC, including Ethereum, even though it wasn't listed, have ventured down the path of not being fully decentralized. And I get that to a certain degree. I understand that you don't want to wrap yourself in bubble wrap and never leave your house because you'll never live. I understand that you may have to venture out a little bit and sacrifice a little bit of decentralization for the sake of being able to build more complicated technology like an Ethereum or a Cardano or a Polygon or a Matic or a Chainlink or whatever. I get that. That makes sense. I understand that. But who should be surprised when you do that you then don't have the protection of the bubble wrap, of the decentralization? And that's the concern that we're in right now. We shouldn't be surprised these attacks are coming after the altcoins, because every single altcoin that's under attack has sacrificed some decentralization for the sake of building really complicated technology that I think is good technology. But we have to understand that when you sacrifice some of the safety, then you end up with some of the risk. And so now that risk is coming to play. It's almost like if you have car insurance and I'm going to get bare minimum on my car insurance policy, because decentralization is your insurance against the government. The government can't do jack to Bitcoin, just so you know. without shutting down the internet. They can't do anything to it. They can't touch it. They could touch its price by threatening to ban it, but they physically, practically can do nothing to it other than speak. That's all the government can do to Bitcoin is speak or home invade you and take it from you. And even then, you can store it in your head, and they'd have to interrogate you to get it out of you. Anyway, long story. Michael Saylor's talked about that quite a bit. The fact of the matter is, if the government tries to come after you and you have sacrificed some decentralization, then you've sacrificed some of your insurance. Now, should you drive around with a $1,000 a month insurance policy on your 2004 beater? Probably not. Makes sense. You want insurance that matches the product. But if you've got a $50 billion cryptocurrency and you've sacrificed almost all of your decentralization, then you're driving around in a Mercedes and you've got bare minimum on your insurance. Somebody dings that thing. It costs $1,000 to repair it. Whose fault is that? It's your fault for not having a higher insurance policy on it. It's your fault for not having more protection. And maybe you chose that, and maybe you thought about it. Maybe you said, you know what? I just don't want to spend all that money on the insurance. Fine. But don't complain when the insurance isn't there for you because you didn't sign up for that. I'm not saying insurance screwing you out of what you were owed, but I'm saying if you didn't sign up for enough insurance and you need it, then, well, you're the one that did it. That's kind of where the altcoins are right now. And so it's going to take time for the altcoin space to really figure out how to operate with this. Okay. Side take from yesterday. Bitcoin breakout is hours away. Stop misleading us. Breakout does not mean bullish. In fact, we went live yesterday, and let me just talk about that. Yesterday, we went live at, let's just validate that claim that a breakout is hours away that went on yesterday's stream. Yesterday, we went live right here. I said a breakout is just hours away. 6 hours later, we broke out. We went live at 10 a.m. We broke out at 1600. Breakout does not mean bullish. And if you watched the stream from yesterday, then you will have seen that in that stream, I gave up to a 50% likelihood that we would not break bullish. I gave it a 75% likelihood that we would break out majorly in one of two directions. I did give a pretty strong likelihood that that would be bearish. And so we did see a breakout just hours away. Wasn't trying to mislead you at all. But thank you. I mean, you're welcome to ask that question, but definitely I don't think that was misleading. Rick4962 gave a member chat, said, if the government had a digital dollar, would we control our private keys or them? Well, that depends on how they set it up. Probably not us, because it wouldn't be a cryptocurrency. It'd be a central bank CBDC, central bank digital currency. Rick4962 gave $50 again and said, God bless. Rick, I feel like you've put this in your budget as a line item. You're like, I'm just going to give $1,000 a month in super chats to Jeff. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Because if you guys don't know, if this is the only stream you've been here for this week, Rick has given $50, I think every single day this week. And I think one day he gave $50 twice, or he gave $100. I don't know. It's probably over $200 now that he's given. I'm sure he knows the number, but it's probably over $200 he's given now. So thank you so very much. Plus 27% in stock market as of now. I forgot about this name. This is an awesome name. Verhoofdflufen. Say, God bless you, Rick. Verhoofdflufen. I had a friend named Van that used to say that. I wonder if that's you, Van. Is that you? Van? Is that you? I gotta ask. I don't know. It's a friend of mine from middle school and high school that used to say that. I wonder if that's him. If that is, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, it's Van. Not gonna lie, I took some profits from Bitcoin and bought some AI stocks. That's where the money is currently. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's not a bad thing to do. That doesn't make you a trader. That you're not trying to pursue having the most Bitcoin. You're trying to pursue financial sovereignty. That's your goal. Should be your goal, certainly. If you're in this for the ideology, and then you're wondering why you don't end up making more money, it's because you are not in it for making more money and being financially sovereign. It's because you're in it for the ideology. For Hoofty-Flufen, you must says not Van. Okay, so you're not Van. You're Hoofty-Flufen. I'm sorry. That's funny. Just a very is that a reference to something? Maybe you both watched the same thing or something. RC Moore said donated $2. Said XRP case is coming to a close. That's good news. That's true. Hopefully it will. Colin McDonald in chat. ¿Qué pasa, Jeb? Muy bien. Muchas gracias. Crypto Surg is still laughing about how I call our children Puerto Ricans yesterday. That is so fun. I thought somebody was going to say, Jeb, you're racist. I'm definitely not. I think that's evil racism, just so you know. But I was so worried about that joke. I was like, oh, somebody's just gonna try and cancel me because I made that joke. Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I told the audience yesterday that my wife is half Puerto Rican, so that makes our children Puerto Ricans. Jeb, explain why Polkadot is not a security. Polkadot is developed a little bit differently than the way that the rest of the cryptocurrencies are developed. It's developed a lot more like a software. But the thing is, the SEC did not add a comprehensive list of securities. There are plenty of cryptocurrencies that they also didn't add, Ethereum being one of them. It's my understanding that they are probably trying to pick their battles, and they bit off a lot. Like, if they're trying to eat an elephant, they just said, oh, we're just going to eat the back half in one bite. And so they probably got their mouth full a little bit, and they're trying to figure out how to go against those things. I would not be at all surprised to see them come after DOT as well. You'd have to ask the SEC. I can't give you a full answer on that because I'm not the SEC, but I would think that's part of it. All right, guys. Jeb can't be canceled. All right. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I am going to have to wrap it out. Thank you guys so very much. If you did enjoy today's stream, it's something silly the Swedish chef from the Muppets would say. Oh, that makes sense. My friend Van, he was a big fan of that. Makes sense. I got you. Okay. Guys, if you did enjoy today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell, and make sure to sign up for Lux Algo because it's going to give you guys so much help in trading these markets, even the stock market. So make sure that you sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JEB30, JEBB30, with the link in the description box down below. I hope you did enjoy today's stream. Make sure to give me any feedback that you guys would like. And thank you so much for RC Moore and Rick for those donations. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I am going to go ahead and wrap it out. Oh, by the way, somebody asked iPhone. Owen Terry asked if I got an iPhone. I did. Well, check it out. Boom. Got a new iPhone. It's financial sovereignty right there, baby. I'm so thankful. I'll just wrap it out on this. I'm so thankful that when I drop a 30-pound dumbbell on my smartphone, that I'm able to just say, all right, that's annoying. I got to transfer all my data. And I don't want to spend money on a new phone right now, but it's in the bank account if I need it. Phones are not cheap. You see, this is not cheap, right? Having to go buy a brand new phone. And I don't do debt. I don't do payments. I bought that in cash. It's nice to be able to have money in the bank account and do that. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying, remember, that vision of becoming financially sovereign is something that you absolutely want to be a part of. All right, guys. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.